There we go. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to session 2 of the 2024 DBE Task Force meeting. My name is Rebecca Morris. I'm the president and the founder of the Arizona Builders Exchange, also the ADOT consultant for the DBE Task Force. So good morning. We're going to give everybody just a moment to get logged in. While we kind of get going, while everybody's kind of joining the webinar, if you would like to use the chat for your virtual networking, not ideal, but hey, we like to see names, right? So everybody, if you'd like to drop your name, your company, your title into the chat, it's a little way to have a little bit of interaction in a virtual space. So again, thank you so much for coming in. We're expecting a pretty decent crowd today. It's nice to see some familiar faces and familiar names. And I think everybody should be able to chat with everyone else. So if you want to drop any kind of message in there, just a quick good morning, that's always nice to see, again, familiar names and faces. So with that, I would like to invite, let me go ahead and stop sharing this. I would like to invite Lorena Nava, DBE Supportive Services Program Manager with ADOT. Thank you, Lorena, for turning your camera on. If you'd like to turn your mic on and provide an update from DBE Supportive Services, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you all for joining today's task force meeting. I'm Lorena Nava, Program Manager for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Supportive Services. Our team, myself and Specialist Alexa, are here to provide one-on-one assistance and educational opportunities to DBEs and small businesses looking to do business with ADOT. Our goal is to enhance some of your networking and business development through our business development program, which is a virtual program for certified DBEs and registered SBCs to receive business and industry training and tools to improve their operations. We hold a series of workshops, including how to access capital, building a powerful brand, contract law, bidding and estimating, and we also help you understand how you can leverage your DBE certification. These sessions are 2-hour virtual workshops. We hold them on Thursdays from 9 to 11, and they're spread over 21 weeks. We're hoping to begin on April 18th. Graduating firms receive assistance with developing a one-page business plan, a financial forecast, a sales video, and up to 5 hours of one-on-one business coaching. And we see graduating firms realize growth within their firms soon after participation in the program. In fact, our 2022 graduating class saw just over $3 million in combined sales in their first year. That's huge, and this could be you. So please don't miss the opportunity and apply today. Secondly, our expo is a great opportunity to network with primes, DBEs, and small businesses in the industry. We also have project opportunities through ADOT, McDOT, City of Phoenix, Sky Harbor, and Valley Metro that are all showcased at it's over 400 attendees, and they're available for exposure of your business. This year's theme is SOAR, and it's taking place on May 7th at the Mesa Convention Center from 7 to noon. Register today or visit our website at adotdbeexpo.com to register. And then lastly, we'd like you all to stay connected to our DBE Supportive Services communications for upcoming solicitations, events, and announcements by subscribing to our bi-monthly DBE newsletters and snapshots. And as always, feel free to reach out to me or Alexa for guidance and support in pursuing opportunities with ADOT. Thank you, and with that, I'll turn it back over to Rebecca.
Thank you, Lorena. Great to hear those exciting project updates or in the program updates and events. DBE Supportive Services offers so many opportunities for certified DBE firms or firms that are looking to get their DBE certification. So thank you, Alexa, for dropping all those in the chat. So if you're not super familiar with Zoom webinars, we kind of have a couple things going on. We've got the chat. So if you can scroll, you'll see people kind of introducing themselves, helpful links, great notes about kind of that live kind of scrolling interaction and reactions to the webinar. The other thing we do have is a Q&A. So using Zoom, we have the ability to ask questions. So questions in the chat, They're not ideal because we can't see them, we can't keep track of them, you know, more people will just add to it. So if you have a question for our presenters, for Adina or for any of the primes that are coming on in a little bit, use the Q&A. That's a great place to kind of essentially pin it, right? So we don't want to lose track of those questions. So between all the different speakers, myself, Amanda as the meeting facilitator, we'll see those and we want to make sure we get to those. So if you can, please use the Q&A for your questions. And sometimes we'll already have those programmed into our discussion. So we will get to them. We want to make sure we answer everything we can, make our time as useful as possible. So thank you again, Lorena, for that update from DBE Supportive Services. Now, Adam Bienick, would you please turn your camera on and your microphone on and provide an update from ECS? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. The updates for ECS this year basically revolve around personnel change. As you may know, Karina Lopez has left as the group manager for ECS at the end of January. She took a position with FHWA. I've been named the interim group manager in the meantime. We're hoping to get that position filled on a permanent basis relatively soon, within the next few weeks or so. Another key personnel change with ECS is our group manager, Cedric Johnson, retired as of March 1st. So we're without a group manager in compliance. We're going to fill that position as soon as the group manager is named. So it's kind of a little bit of a domino effect right there for personnel change right now in ECS. As for contracts, the only thing I wanted to bring up is we're going to be advertising a pretty big project for SR30 coming up in the first or second week of April. This kind of leads me into why pre-qualification is so important for ECS. In order for any firm to submit an SOQ for any of our advertised projects, you must be pre-qualified. So that it basically boils down to why pre-qualification is so important, is because you cannot submit an SOQ on any project without being pre-qualified. I know Adina is going to talk about this pretty soon in further detail. The only other thing I wanted to say on pre-qualification is the process usually takes about 10 days. So you need to plan accordingly. So the project I just mentioned, that's going to be pretty big. It's going to have multiple selections. And it's going to be advertised in the first or second week of April. You should probably start planning on pre-qualifying pretty soon for that. So that's all I have for updates for ECS.
Thank you so much, Adam. So before you go, that State Route 30 project, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Is that what is that?
I don't have all the full details on it yet. So if anyone wants to message me privately though, I'll get you more information on
All right, I will send you a separate message because I remember there was a big State Route 30 project that had the engineering SOQ that was on the street in like July of 2022 that got pulled back, and I'm not sure if that's the same one. Is that the same one?
I'm not sure either because I did the ADOT. I just got
more information to be determined. TBD.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Adam. Perfect. And Adam, I'll invite you to turn your camera off and your microphone off. And then I'd like to invite Amanda McGinnis to turn her camera on, microphone on. Beautiful. I love it when everybody's cameras and mics kind of seamlessly come on and off. It's always a good sign. So Amanda, I'd like you to, I'm going to kind of turn the whole stage over to you. Let you take on the topic of pre-qualification as a prime. Amanda, take it away.
Okay, fabulous. Thanks, Rebecca. Hey, Lorena and Adam, that was great information to share for us. And I'm real excited to be here again today to do the second part of the pre-qualification. We did contractors in February, and now we're doing design consultants here in March. So let's go over some of the details. This workshop is divided into two parts today. Part one will cover the requirements of consultants pre-qualification preparation and the process the design consultant must complete in order to do business, as Adam said, with the Arizona Department of Transportation. Part 2 will consist of a panel of prime consultants, design consultants, discussing their firm's qualification process for sub-consultants. So if you're ready to take the next step in becoming a prime design consultant for ADOT, Part 1 is just the information you need to begin the application process. If you're wanting to still be a sub-consultant, then Part 2, you will want to listen in and hear what our prime design consultants have to say today. So I am privileged this morning to introduce ADOT's ECS Management Analysis 4, Miss Adina Omeragic. Adina has been with ADOT for over 24 years and is currently managing the consultant pre-qualification process. Adina, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for a nice introduction. Don't really register that 24 years until somebody really said that. So I appreciate it. Well, let's go into pre-qualification application. So let me share. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see pre-qualification. Okay, so ADOT engineering contracts are awarded according to qualification-based selection and procurement process as a part of Brooks Act. Brooks Act, and that's why importance of pre-qualifying is really stressed. All firms are desiring to do the services with ECS are encouraged to pre-qualify earlier as possible. The pre-qualification process is biennial year based. So we are currently in 24-25 pre-qualification period. And what that means is that pre-qualification application is open January 1st of 2024 and will end in December 31st, 2025. We do not have like any specific deadlines for pre-qualification applications, so you can actually, start this application whenever you are ready to, or whenever you see some projects out there that fits your need. So the process of pre-qualification last 10 business days. So firms are very much encouraged to start the process earlier. So you have that, done and complete, and you can just, be on the lookout for the project that comes out there and be ready. Pre-qualification application with ECS is fully done online through ACMS, Electronic Contract Management System. So the gaining that access is also a big portion of the preparation. Sub-consultants are encouraged, but they're not required to be pre-qualified with us. So pre-qualification consultant, after they pre-qualified, they can be disqualified from submitting SOQ or any other form or proposal with ADOT for a number of reasons, and some are a breach of contract, significant error omission, failing to submit payment reports, contract mods, or failing to pay sub-consultants or report such a payments in accordance to prompt pay law. So as Adam mentioned already, the big portion of being ready to work with ADOT and ECS is preparing for application, for pre-qualification application. We recommend everybody that gets in touch with us prior to working with ECS to visit ECS pre-qualification website. So ECS pre-qualification page, it's full of resources that will help you and assist you while you're doing this process. The pre-qualification application checklist, it's also available online, and it's actually step-by-step with information, what you need to be successfully pre-qualifying, on time. So it actually leads you through pages and what needs to be completed or what is needed from you in order to comply with everything that we ask throughout the application. In order for you to prepare for pre-qualification, we also strongly encourage to take a step prior to going into application to gain that AZU track vendor registration number that is required for our application, as well as a visiting Arizona Corporated Commission and checking on your status, checking on your information, any updated annual reports, and making sure that information out there are up to date and the information that you entering into our application are information that you have in ACC.
Adina,
Yes.
can I stop you a moment and ask you to move your slides? I know you have some really great information on your slides and they're not moving. We have your first slide up. And so the other slides are not moving as you go. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. No
Thank you.
problem.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. So
Absolutely.
okay. So can you see the slides now? Okay. Okay. Can you see the slide now?
Yes. Is this a slide that you're working with from Gmail?
Nope.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
So the ECS
Dina, this is Rebecca. I think we have your email as
Oh.
being shared and not your actual presentation.
Oh.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
We see your email. Well, do you see the little green bar around your screen?
Oh my goodness. Okay.
There.
So, okay.
We just need to reopen your presentation. Or if you'd like me to, let me know. I can certainly do that too.
Okay, so I apologize for that.
No problem.
So, okay, let me. Okay, so I'm sharing. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in preparation for application for pre-qualification, it's also important to gather information on licensing because you are actually providing to ADOT what technical qualifications you have in licensing for your firm or your staff. And then the big portion, of course, for preparation to enter into our application, it's establishing access to ECMS. So establishing access to ECMS, you can do two ways. Like if you're a brand new firm and you are just beginning to work with ADOT, we recommend that you start your access with single sign-on access because that specific access will give you directly to your it will give you access directly to your pre-qualification application. However, with remote access that you gain, and like many of the firms that are already working with us or have a contracts, they do way more than pre-qualifying with us, and that remote access will give you a little bit more of working with ADOT in many different modules that we work with consultants. So in two ways of pre-qualifying, if you bring your firm, we suggest that you do single sign-on because that's the fastest way for you just to pre-qualify. But if you actually have a contract and working with ECS, we recommend remote access for your access to ECMS. So for remote access, it usually takes 10 business days to process the access. And when you open the application for remote access, you will see why, because we need to cover so much, in security features. So multiple ADOT groups are working with, with your access and providing that protection. So you can feel free providing information throughout the pre-qualification with us. So that will be the preparation for application. So going into the actual application. So in actual application, your application starts with some general information that you're providing to us. Legal name, how much your business is out there, in UTRAX information, are you DBE, a DBE firm, so preparing for the DBE certification is also important part of the preparation. And then just understanding whatever you provide in that general information, where the contacts, locations are, that information will flow through ECMS application in different stages. So that will be the first item that actually we will use throughout developing that work connection with us. So in general information, we do require contact for application. We do have like 5 contact points that we require, and then you can add, as much as you want. We don't have like any limitation. As far as the remote access, I also want to mention that we do not have a limitation on how many people can access, from one firm. So there is no limitation there. So once you're done with the general information, registering with ACC and making sure that information is transparent with information that you're entering into general page, it's very crucial because that could possibly be items for rejection later on. So making sure that information is matching, it's very important. The second portion of our second page in pre-qualification application is that firm is selecting the technical qualifications to perform engineering services, and list of major consultant projects that the firm completed as a prime or as a sub for past 1 to 5 years. So if the firm is brand new firm and they're not technical nature, they would be required to enter information here. However, they would need to explain that to us through communicating or through official letter stating that they're a non-technical firm, so we understand why the information is not there in application. So the next stage in application is providing license and registration. We do require for all technical staff to be registered under Arizona Board of Technical Registry. We also have links that are provided for real estate certifications, licensing, and ADOT contractors. However, this is not limiting you to these 3. You can add as many as you prefer us, knowing. So we can have that minimum qualification for your firm. So once you're done with registration and licensing, we do have like financial demonstration page. So firm must demonstrate financial viability and understanding of use of component of accounting system that meets federal acquisition regulation FARA 31, that you actually certify on this page that you do have understanding of that. Then the prime consultant firms and sub-consultant interested in awarding cost plus fixed fee or lump sum type of contract should provide evidence and statement, that firm is compliant with accounting system in accordance with the general accounting principles, FARA 31, accounting standards, and ADOT cost, allowability guidelines. So these financial information also, you will be providing the annual architectural and engineering services revenues, as well as annual net income. However, we understand that, let's say at the beginning of 24, many of the firms don't have anything for 2023 because that's not completed yet. So we ask that you estimate your part in that year. However, providing for all the other 4 years, it's required, providing that information. So the last page in our application process is attachments that we require. There are 4 attachments that we require from firms, and that's transmittal letter, which the template, because of the portions that we require in that transmittal letter, it's available on that resource page. So you can utilize that, or you can utilize your letter. However, we need those specific items to be listed in transmittal letter. Affirmation, action, DBE statement, and policy. Then we ask for financial statements. So you don't have to send us like annual, like a report. We do accept a balance sheet, cash flows, and trail balance. So you don't have to send a full report. You can just send us pieces so we can actually see, and confirm your financial stability. And we also require organizational structure, or chart showing us how your company is structured. So when you're done throughout the application, your last part of the application, it's a final page where we actually have in system the check mark. So system will not let you submit application if there are requirements that are not completed. So the final checklist you will see for each page. So if you, to that point, completed everything that we require for the review, the check marks will be there and you're going to be good to go to submit. There's a portion of comments where you can actually, make a comments if there is something, that we need to know, something that you want to display and something that, you think it's important to know, while we're doing this review for you. Notifications are automatically completed. So once you submit that application, you will get a notification that your application is received. Once we review application, you will get notification or if we reject, you will get notification explaining why we rejected and what you can do in order to, submit it back so we can continue processing. So we work, it's not final. So that rejection, it's not final. We will work with you. So if you submit information missing or correct information that we notice, are not complying or, need your attention, you can, once you complete that, you can submit it back to us and we will continue, review. Rejection and approval that we most of the time see, are most of the times information not matching with ACC. Information, let's say the year displaying, somebody put the 5 years the business in, however, business like 20 years showing in ACC. So information matching, it's very important. How your name is displayed, legal name. So we notice that sometimes people will enter doing business as per se, like a legal name display on that general page. That it's the beginning page of your application. Other rejection, U-Tracks, also every U-Tracks number expire, I think, 3 years. So it's very important to follow up and see that U-Tracks information is up to date. The financials missing, or you're not familiar with FARA 31. So if you're not familiar with FARA 31, we require you to revisit that and then come back, and certify that you are familiar with FARA in order to, move your application further. So those would be kind of common rejection, as well as a missing attachment. Sometimes people are not sure, especially if it's a smaller firm, how they can address items. So I would say and stress out that it's very important that you communicate that comment section. It's important, so communicate to us if there's something that you, like a non-technical, you were not able to provide to us because your firm is not technical nature. So those would be kind of common application rejection that we see. And with that, I would conclude this presentation, of course, with any question for approval or for preparation for pre-qualification. I would say like email us to ECS pre-qualification inbox, and we will see to reply and assist you with whatever's in our power. So for any resources that you want to, check, I would say visit Engineering Consultants section website, check our ECS manual, see the checklist, and if any questions, we're here to assist. So that will be it for me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Adina. That was really great information. I have a couple of questions that have come up that I'd like to ask you, if that's all right. The first one is from one of our attendees today, and they're interested in if they provide program management services, do they need to qualify as a design firm?
Program management.
I'm sorry.
All of our technical list, approved technical list that we go by is on our website, and they can reference that technical list. And I would say, like, if question that nature, I would have to, check with our team and get back to that firm, because all of our design services that ECS advertise, we require a firm to be pre-qualified. So even if they're not technical, we would, ask to pre-qualify to complete the minimum qualification in order for you to submit on that project.
Okay, all right. And then another question was, can you provide some perspective on what minimum standards are for financial viability? When you say financial viability for your requirements?
So as far as a financial portion, we're just looking into, are you stable? Are you stable to complete a minimum project out there? So we're really looking into, are you qualified? Are you able to complete and assist ADOT in the project, that it's advertised, let's say? So your financial portion with pre-qualification, it's really minimum. When you go to submit on SOQ, and when you go through the process of, with that, then the financial portion, plays a little bit different part, where you can actually be looked at the different level. With this minimum, we're just looking at, are you, your stability, your ability to, provide the minimum for any project. So really minimum qualifications. So if, let's say, if the firm, it's a brand new firm, don't have like any annual resources yet, we will work with them and see how we can, complete that financial part. And so they can actually pre-qualified. And later on, when the SOQ, when they submitting on the SOQ, that, they can actually complete be at the minimum and work with our specialists to move at a different level, hopefully.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Adina. So I just want to go over a couple of things that as you were presenting, that I was thinking about, and especially when it comes to cart before the horse, or vice versa. But you would probably start with ensuring that you have a license. You're licensed in Arizona, right, with the Board of Technical Registration, and then you would get your UTRAX number before you start your pre-qual process. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. So then you would move on through the pre-qual process. So another thing that I would ask you to clarify is, it is March now of 2024, and I'm submitting my pre-qual. It still only is good until December of 2025. Is that correct? You don't go from March 2024 to, March of 2026. It is a calendar year set for you all between January and December, right? And no matter when you apply, those dates still expire for renewing, correct?
Correct. So you actually pre-qualifying only for that period from January to December. So from January 2024 to December 31st, 2005. So even if you apply in November of 2025, you are only pre-qualified through December 31st because you pre-qualifying for that specific pre-qualification period. So I have to mention, I mean, maybe it's a good information to know that once the month of November comes, so starting November 25, we already opening the new pre-qualification period. So based on what you submitting on, so if there's something that you submitting on in December, we would say pre-qualify for both, because you need to be pre-qualified in this pre-qualification period in order to submit on SOQ that it's out there in December, and beginning of January. But beginning of the March, you need to be pre-qualified for a new pre-qualification period. So in month of November, December, we will have 2 spontaneous pre-qualification period open. So firms that are, looking for submitting on SOQ out there, in that specific period, they can still do it. So we don't close it early, or, it just expire on 31st.
Okay, great. So we've got a couple more questions, and since we've got some time, I'm going to ask them. The first one is, we're an electrical engineering group that can also offer project management, construction management, and inspection. We do lack structural and civil support. Is it a good idea to form a joint venture for those services, and in what form? A loose association with a separate EIN number, or one EIN number?
Oh, joint venture, that's, that's something that I'm not really familiar with. So I would say the contract inspects, or other groups would be more appropriate to reach out and see, to answer that question.
Okay, all right, we'll hold that one and see if we can't get some more info for that question, that person that questioned that. Another question was, can we pre-qualify if we are Illinois-based firm? Are there any criteria for firms that are out of state?
So you have to be, you can pre-qualify. You only have to be registered in state of Arizona and be prepared to do business in state of Arizona. So you have to have, like, as you said, register with the Board of Technical Services, ACC. So that portion, it's, like something that you will require to do business in state of Arizona. But other than that, yeah, you can pre-qualify here.
Okay, wonderful. And can you tell people that aren't familiar with the federal acquisition requirements regulation where they can find those? What do they Google, or what would they look up for? And then is there a particular portion, did you tell us, and I apologize if I missed it, what section you're referring to? You may have said that and I missed it.
Oh, yeah, and thank you for asking that. So let me just be specific. So for the FARA, it's a FARA Part 31. So that's what I know. We definitely have that on our website as well. So it's a FARA Part 31, and that will bring up the all requirements that you need for engineering consultant section.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I don't see any other questions. Do you have anything else you think you might want to offer? Any little extra nuggets of information that you might want to include, Adina, besides that good presentation that you did? We will have everyone able to use your slides when we send them out. But what about software? They don't have to purchase any software in order to get on with ECS, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, the access portion, gaining access, that remote access, you're going through Okta, so Google, and you are provided all information that you needed, so no purchasing is necessary. So I wanted to leave everybody, and first of all, I want to thank you for reminding me at the beginning of the presentation. I apologize for that.
No problem.
But I just want to say, like, no matter what, questions are usually come up later once the presentation is over. But if whatever you have a question on, send it to that inbox. We will address it. If you need, directly one-on-one, a little help, we are here to assist. So we will be glad to schedule that and work with you. So I think it's important that, we communicate to each other and know that we are here to assist. So me and Vale, our compliance specialist, we also work tightly together. So, our compliance team. So whenever you need it, just let us know.
All right, very good. Well, I don't see any more questions in the Q&A. So
Amanda, sorry, this is Rebecca. There are actually 2 more in the chat.
Oh, okay. I
Are you able to see those?
So let me scroll down. Are they near the bottom? Okay. Water insurance requirements.
So
that's the first one, Adina.
Yeah, for insurance, you don't have like any insurance requirements at this part of working with ECS. For pre-qualification application, you don't have like any insurance requirements. However, when you come to the stage of submitting on SOQ, we do have like minimum insurance requirements that you can actually find on our website if you want to prepare for that and see what is necessary. So if whoever needs that information, we can definitely forward that link so you can have it.
And in that vein, then, Adina, would there be, someone has asked the question, do you have a typical contract that a firm might, sign or be required to sign for a design project? Do you have some kind of example of that out on the website?
Yes. So we do have like all type of contracts sample out there on our website. So if you go to azdot.gov, ECS is located under business, engineering consultant section. So a lot of this information, it's under consultant resources or forms and templates. So in this case, about the contracts templates, you can find them in the form and templates, and you can actually see the insurance requirements there as well.
That's pretty thorough. I really do appreciate you taking the time to go through this with us. I hope that those that are listening have got a better idea of what they need in order to pre-qualify with ADOT. I certainly have learned a lot in this experience, just gathering the information from you and our prime consultants that are about to speak. So thank you again, and I'll ask you to turn off your screen.
Thank you.
And while Rebecca pulls our other panelists into the room, I hope you all were able to glean some valuable information from our presentation. And again, we'll reiterate the fact that we will have all this information out for you either in another email along with the recording today at a very soon time. So here we go. We're into part 2, which is what I like because I get to talk to some of my favorite people, some of the prime consultants that I have interacted with over the years. And this part provides you all listeners with an opportunity to hear what each prime consultant considers when pre-qualifying sub-consultants to work on their design projects. With me today is an esteemed group of design professionals who perform a lot of work that ADOT advertises for design. Our panelists who have graciously agreed to assist us with this workshop today are as follows. Kareem Dada with Senior VP, who is Aztec Engineering Group Inc. Bill Ferris he is the design manager for Stantec, and Gary Fromm, who is the transportation practice director for Ardura Group Inc. Okay, guys, so to get started, your first reaction to Adina's presentation. What are your biggest challenges, if any, when you go to renew your pre-quals with ADOT? Is there anything you have learned along the way to streamline the application submittal that might help a first-time applicant? Kareem, you want to answer first?
Yeah, I think she did a great job of explaining it. It seems a little bit complex and cumbersome, but I think it's just really diving into it. But she mentioned it is making sure you have access and you can get in access to the ECMS website to get in that portal, understanding all the different individual data points that you need to provide. But I think it's making sure you have access and maintaining an access, because sometimes it does time out. You have to re-get it, but I think it's just walking through that whole process, understanding it. It's really not, it's not difficult. It just sometimes takes a little time, but you got to have good people around you that can provide that data. And I do. So fortunately we do.
Oh, wonderful. Bill, how about you?
That's probably the big one. And Adina did a great job covering a really wide topic here, but to me, it's probably the FAR guidelines and understanding what components of it, being capable of handling the financial audit type questions that come. And this is maybe a little bit more as SOQs come out and specific pursuits are being pursued. But we as a prime are responsible for the sub-consultants on our team and making sure that compliance with the FAR guidelines can sometimes be a challenge. So brushing up on that would be great.
Okay, great. Gary, do you have anything that you can add?
Just one thing is I guess that checklist is very useful. I suggest going through the checklist and taking a look at it, become familiar with it, the information that you're going to need to gather on it to complete the pre-qualifications form on it, and just go through it. And if there's any questions, the ECS is great about getting back and answering any questions that you may have on it. So it's important to be familiar with it, get your documents together, and like Kareem, fortunately, I have some good people working around me that take care of the majority of that. And then once you go through the process one time, it becomes much easier after that.
Yeah, I would say that I have heard throughout the discussions and talking to others that it's very important to just print the information off and have it almost prepared so you can start to answer those questions as you go along, correct?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought too. So, Kareem, I'm going to go back to you for a second. How far in advance do you all start identifying projects and identifying potential partners or sub-consultants with your pursuit?
It could be days to years.
Okay. Wow.
It's really trying to identify what programs you want to chase. Obviously, I know we're talking about ADOT, but if you think about ADOT, they do a great job of putting out the 5-year construction program. And right now it's out. The tentative program has been released for public review. But look ahead as far as you can. Well, one thing we try not to do is chase RFPs. And what that means is that once a project is advertised, it's like, oh my God, there's a project, let's go after it. To your point, Amanda, we try to identify projects ahead of time so you can get in to visit with the clients, understand exactly what their needs are, and then really start to build the team around that, whether you decide to chase it as a prime or to be a key design sub consultant. But it's just a lot of legwork. It's a lot of bird dogging, so to speak. It's just, you want to be able to understand exactly what the client needs and then build around that. And however long that takes you to do that, but the sooner you can do it, the better.
And that's long range planning.
It
Bill?
is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, very long range planning. Bill, how about you? What do you think?
Kareem nailed it. When we're looking at a $10,000 traffic study, the turnaround can be relatively short. When we're talking about $1 billion I-10 proposal, design build, you're looking to probably 2 years, maybe 3 years in advance, finding a contracting partner. No offense, Mandy, they're kind of a challenge sometimes.
Get it.
But then key partners, which probably maybe wouldn't necessarily be a DBE, but could be. There was a question about joint ventures and things. Sometimes projects of that magnitude require that ADOT have confidence that you can handle such a large project. So there might be contractor, then key partner, then specialty sub-consultants that are recognized for expertise in landscaping or drainage or structural, those sorts of things. So those big projects can take quite a while.
So that's a fabric that's woven together in more than just a basic, simple prime design sub-consultant, all those types of dynamics. Gary, do you have other places that you look for work or identify work? And are you on the same type of schedule anywhere long range to short range, depending on your expertise for your firm?
Yeah, I think that it's really dependent on the complexity of the project and dollar amount of the project. Like Bill had mentioned, a traffic study is typically a smaller type project, and the time frame to gather the information is relatively short on that. But on these complex projects, it's more important to get out in front of it. And I'll tell you, on these large projects, those teams are formed a year in advance. So if you're coming in, a couple months before it's going to be advertised, you're probably going to be locked out because the teams are already formed on it. And I'd encourage the DBE subs to get to know the primes and what their needs are on projects, so that it's a continued dialogue with them to bring up projects well in advance and see if there's an interest in it, and have that dialogue with it.
And so that goes along with the next question, which is some of the basics. Once you've identified some of your potential pursuits, what are the basic steps that sub-consultants must go through in order to become qualified design sub-consultant with your firm? Gary, we're going to go back to you and start with you at first, and then Bill.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to remember that design contracts are qualification based. So it's the qualifications that we need to present to ADOT in order to win the project. So when I'm looking at a sub-consultant, I'm looking at what they're bringing to the team and how they can strengthen the team so that we can win the project. So some of the key aspects that I look at is what previous work have they done with the client? Have they completed work within the project limits or near the project limits? Have they completed similar type work that they can show? It's strengthening the team, and it really is just a way. I'm interested in what they're bringing to the table and how they're going to help us win the project, because it's since it's qualifications based, we really need to sell ourselves and present a good story as far as why we are the strongest team and why ADOT should select us.
Yeah, so Bill, in that thought process a little bit, do you all go out searching for the sub-consultants, or do you just wait until they come and propose to you, or is it a little bit of both? How important is it for them to highlight how they can assist you, or if you know ahead of time, gosh, this group does this, we'll probably go ask them.
Yeah, maybe just as a precursor, I echo what Gary says. We're selfish. We want to win the job. So show us a way that you can help us win the job. You happen to know the ADOT PM. You have a specialty, a niche offering that we don't have. And just being proactive. I think that kind of going to pre-qualification, let me touch on that. If it's like a desktop type service offering, as a company, we typically don't look too deep into the weeds. But if you're going to be out in the field, if you're going to be on site, all of a sudden your safety, insurance, and then of course quality is important. So we typically are proactively looking for firms that will help us win the job. And have we worked with them before? Have we done vetting with the client, that the client likes that firm or likes a PM at that firm or an engineer? Those are the kinds of things that go through our mind as we're starting to assemble a team.
So, Kareem, do you have anything else to offer on that? I mean, it sounds like it's really important for the sub-consultant to know the project you're proposing on, which
Yeah,
kind of goes back to prep, right? Prep
Sure.
on with the STP, the 5-year, looking in depth into those programs.
Yeah, I think definitely Gary and Bill have nailed it. The one thing that we always look for too is, they mention it, is do your homework. Have they actually gone in to visit the client? And is there any new information and nuggets of intel that they can bring to us? That really shows that they're really trying. They're not just coming to us and say, hey, we'd love to join your team for X, Y, and Z. But just Bill said it, be proactive. Get out there and look at the site and understand really what the project is. And not just maybe the client PM, but the different technical specialties. They're just really do your homework and bring it.
Yeah, I think that, again, like we said, thoroughness is very, very important when you're soliciting, which comes to and we kind of talked about it, but it comes to the point of when you how do you want them contacting you? Do you want them just sending you blanket calls all of a sudden, so you have that and you have a file 13 for it? Or sometimes contractors have a giant binder where they have kept those companies' names, to look through past quotes or just company, things like that. I don't know how that works on design, if you just keep those calls somewhere until you think you might need them, or do you want them to try to seek you out and set up an appointment to talk to you? How would you like to manage that? Gary, let's hear from you how you all manage your sub-consultants. Do you want to contact them? Do you want them to send you info? Do you want them to set up appointments? What do you think?
Yeah, I think for right out the gate, if I'm not familiar with a sub-consultant, emails start out with some firm bio and resumes, and then follow up with a call and a conversation, because you can only get so much off of reading a piece of paper, right? And I find it very important to be able to talk to the person and get a perspective as far as their past experience, their qualifications, and everything. And again, that's what it's based off of, is what they're bringing to the table for the team. And I want to make sure that I can work with that person too, and that there's it's going to be a easy process, because when we bring on a sub consultant on a project, every sub consultant that we bring on is additional management for us, and we're responsible for that sub consultant's work. So I've got to be comfortable with the people I'm bringing on the team and I'm going to be working with.
So then you will personally talk to them. You don't, Billy, you don't have I know we had talked before about how you're not just a big fan of just a blanket email. You like personal contact and personal discussion with those folks. And I know that you're like always pursuing work. There's not really a downtime for you guys. So is there a good time for them to send those to you, or try to set up an appointment, or, how do you feel about that?
Sometimes I relate it to when my kids ask me for advice. I say, if it's an important topic, face to face. If you can't do face to face, then pick up the phone. If you can't pick up the phone, email. And if you can't email, good Lord, don't text me. and the kids I'm old school.
Right.
I know text is definitely the mode to use sometimes these days, if you have a relationship and you have someone's number. But to Gary's point, seeing people, having face-to-face, seeing them, how do they react? How do they function? Can you work with them? Those are super critical. So, yeah, sometimes I'll just get an email out of the blue saying, hey, we're here, we do electrical services. Okay, you just kind of need to take that next step to, here's how I can help you, Kareem. Here's how I can help you, Gary. And then could we have an opportunity to sit down and discuss our services? Because we're all getting hundreds of emails a day. So you just stay persistent, and we'll get back to you.
If I miss this again, I apologize, but do you all have a central location where folks could send that? So general mailbox, do any of you three firms have a general mailbox for sending in qualifications or not? I don't know if you do. No. So it's personal contact.
It's the way to go. It is.
Okay. All right. So, and they should probably take notice if you're at a conference or someplace like that, and see if they can take the opportunity to talk to you at that time, right?
For sure.
Perfect. So Bill started to touch on this just a little bit ago when we were talking about like design builds and the different nuances of procurements that you all design. And I know you do a lot of design as for the owner, as the vendor for the owner, but there are times when you are tied to a contractor. And then there's a little bit difference if folks are thinking, well, my pre-qualification that I worked as a sub-consultant with Aztec may work. Well, it may not, because the contractor and you may have a different nuance as to how you select people for that team. Anybody want to give me some info on that, or how that works? Go ahead, Kareem.
I'll start it for sure. You guys definitely jump in. Typically, when we work with a contractor, and Bill already talked about it, it's going to be a design build contract or Now there's progressive design build contracts or whatever they're going to be called in Arizona. But it's one of the biggest things we try to do from the onset is understanding the commercial side to make sure we can work commercially with that contractor. And that means getting under contract, understanding all the terms and conditions. And I think one of the reps on the call was talking about, understanding the contract, wanting to see the contract, insurance requirements. That was directed for ECS. So there's two levels working with the owner, like in this case, ADOT, and also with the contractor. And usually the contractor, they're going to have much higher thresholds. So as we build the team, one, we got to make sure we can work with that contractor. We have a good history working with them. And then as we build the team, our team of consultants, sub-consultants, to make sure they can adhere to those contract terms. Those are key. That's what we've learned all along. We know we can deliver the project. We know we can deliver the design, do all the compliance. But what it comes down to is making sure commercially you can work together and finish the project with no issues at the end.
Yeah, those contract provisions can be a little difficult. I know there is quite a bit of negotiation back and forth between that because of the risk for each party involved.
There is. And
and
ADOT does a good job with their contracts, but you just got to make sure you understand it.
Yeah, and then also you all might have to. You might be 2 or 3 teams just because you've approached a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
They may have a selection process of their own.
That's right.
In selecting the design consultant they're going to use. So you may have to be prepared for an interview, and which may bring sub-consultants along with you in order to interview in front of the contractor before he selects the firm that he might use to work with him in design, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can maybe add 2 things. Kareem nailed it with, as a prime, we get certain terms and conditions that come to us, and we would like nothing better than to just flow those to our sub-consultants. And sometimes on limits of liability, that is a super challenge when you're trying to get professional liability insurance. So just be aware of that. We continue to work with sub-consultants to make sure that they can meet those requirements.
And they should probably have those ahead of time, or at least know what their current allowances are for that before even soliciting you, I would say, right? So that they have that information right off the bat, instead of, it's not really professional when you go in and you're like, well, I'll have to check on that. They should probably have their ducks in a row when it comes to soliciting you for potential work and knowing those types of relevant questions that need to be answered. Right?
Desirably. But then the second thing is, you talked about the contractor selection process and potentially bringing a DBE into an interview. I just caution, a lot of times DBE firms that I've worked with will try to be on multiple teams.
Mm-hmm.
Totally understand it, but it's very unlikely that a contractor would want a DBE to come to an interview if they're on multiple teams. There's a lot of confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wouldn't come out in an interview, but it might, alternative technical concepts that again, contractors looking, why would this prime or sub help me win? And so oftentimes you're bringing maybe some confidential thoughts that you don't want shared. And we're all morally sound and ethically above board, but just even the perception that you're on multiple teams can be a challenge.
Oh, it's very important. I'm glad you actually brought that up, because it is very important. There is such a cost to designing, to preparing for one of these big projects on all levels, from the construction to the design consultant. And if you don't win it, then you've spent a lot of time and effort and money for zero. And it is a lot of time and effort and money. So I hope that sub-consultants understand that you sometimes have to make that commitment. So you need to do your own research on the firms that you want to be a sub-consultant to to see their, potential viability with the contracting team that they're going to be putting together. I really do believe that that is very, very important when you're going after work. And again, another thing that you all agree to and I understand, and I want to impress upon the group today listening, is that, again, this is not an overnight process. These folks are actually, way in advance, not just even 1 year, sometimes like Gary said, it depending on the type of project, but it could be 2 or 3 years down the line that they've already even formed their team with the contractor. So you need to be aware of those things and listen to the type of chatter that's out there in the industry when it comes to upcoming projects and how far out they are and what to identify as your strengths and weaknesses. I think it's very important for you to know your strengths and weaknesses and how you can communicate those to design firms like you all. I'm going to ask a couple of questions before we kind of finish off, and before I ask Kareem about his experience from a DBE to moving out of the program. So we've got one, guys, that let me see if I can frame this. So this is a group that is a design electrical engineering firm in high voltage to low voltage with seasoned engineers. We have not had a contract with ADOT, but have worked with cities, electrical utilities, mining, and water utilities. We design transmission, distribution, substations, and all things power. Is there work we can qualify for, or what type of training could we implement to become better qualified? And they've handled pretty large dollar design projects or projects in the past. Who wants to take that first? Gary?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of the projects that have that power are involved, APS or SRP here in the metropolitan area, that they have their, if there's a relocation required, that they typically do their design and we coordinate with them on the relocation of where the relocated facility is going to be to make sure it's not in conflict with our improvements. Occasionally with local municipalities, that there is it's kind of a one-off, but I mean that there's an occasional need for those services. Primarily it's more on the private development side is that that they want to implement a designer to help out the local utility, typically to get it done quicker. But my experience is that typically the utility owner does their own design in-house.
I see. So Bill, do you have anything to offer in that respect as well?
No, I was just wondering if the low voltage component could be applicable to like street lighting or traffic signals. Maybe there's an in there.
So maybe they could, it's all in how they probably tailor their experience and write up their experience, I guess, when they're putting in their qualifications for the department to review and consider. Maybe that's something that they could think about.
It is trying to make it relevant to if there's a particular project, taking those skill sets that, like in this case, this firm has, and definitely tying it to the project. That's what I was thinking exactly, Bill's. There's signals, lighting design, but Gary nailed it too. A lot of the utility work is done by third parties, and so but on on the municipal side, outside of ADOT, there are those opportunities that do come up for sure.
Yeah, and actually I was told that a very good way for sub-consultants to get their foot in the door is to do a lot of work for municipalities and get to know those staff people, because when ADOT has projects that line up with that city, that it is a benefit if those sub-consultants know some of those staff that maybe your big design firms don't know, And that gives them an opportunity to showcase what they can offer. Again, it's all about what they can offer to strengthen your team, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to one of the previous questions, Amanda, you asked us, and Gary and Bill said it as well. It's like, bring that value, and definitely on projects that we work with ADOT, there are a lot of stakeholders involved, from municipalities, private utilities, what have you. And the firms that can bring that value, it only just makes it even that much better.
Yeah. So here is another question, and I'm not sure if you guys can answer it or not, but it says, how can DBEs effectively position themselves on design build work given the long lead time and the level of investment that the design build teams make to submit on those projects? Anybody want to take a shot? Go ahead.
Gary, Bill, you guys want to take it? It doesn't matter to me.
To me, there needs to be relationship building. On these long lead items. Again, you got to develop a relationship with the contractor, then the prime, and then major partner, and then subs that fill certain roles. So if you are committed to looking at projects that far in advance, just let us know your understanding of the project and how you see your fit on a potential team. And maybe that doesn't work on my team, but it might work on Kareem's team or Gary's team, because they have that gap that they need. We're all different. We all have expertise in certain areas. We're probably similar on the basics: fundamental roadway design, fundamental drainage design, structures design, but street lighting, traffic analysis might be a good way to fill that in. Food for thought.
Sounds good.
And I'll add on to that is that when ADOT advertises a project, many times there's other stakeholders involved, utilities, other communities, local agencies, take a look at the entire picture. And if you have a strong relationship with a city or county or tribal community that, can really benefit our team, and there's a component in there that's a critical item, having somebody that has strong relationships with some of these key stakeholders is really something that we look at on it. And one other thing I don't think that we've touched on either is showing a history of reliability, making sure that you meet budget and schedule and deliver a quality product is something very important to us, because ultimately we're going to be submitting construction plans, and it's going to be constructed, and the quality of the plans is what ultimately matters, and getting through that process. So
that's such a great point, Gary. I apologize for not bringing that up a little bit ago. Can you guys very quickly, I know that you do require some of your sub-consultants to have specialty software. Can you go, Kareem, we'll start with you. What types of software that you generally look for a sub-consultant to have in order to marry with what you are doing with your design?
Yeah, it definitely comes down to the roles that individual, that firm is looking to provide, but it's really matching up what the software you need to deliver whatever level of design you're going to be doing, whether it's MicroStation, AutoCAD, or the different the different very technical discipline specific software items that you need. I mean, it really comes down to what you're going to provide. But there are other cloud-based platforms that we're providing, whether it's like a Bluebeam technology, or there's a lot of file sharing applications that we use. It really just comes down to what they're going to provide and what we think the project will need.
And there are times when an owner even requires a certain
that's right.
software, correct?
Yep, that's right.
I know that we don't want to get that confused with when you're filling out your application, but this is when you are into your SOQ and when you're talking with you all as a sub-consultant that you all may require
Mhm.
different software. So yeah, that's very, very important. And again, back to the reliability, making sure that your documentation that you're providing, your design is on time and of quality work, very important. They don't realize the risk for the prime consultant if there is an error on those project plans.
Yeah, and Bill and Gary can probably attest to this a heck of a lot better than I can, but the advancements in MicroStation from inroads to open roads, it's really understanding, right, all the nuances, just understanding the new technology, the new software technology. You guys agree?
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
We've gone to more of the open roads
Mm-hmm.
suite of software. And you mentioned Bluebeam. We're using that on almost all of our projects now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not last week because it shut down for a little while, or parts of the application did. So we have to deal with that too sometimes.
Oh, lovely technology.
It kind of
as
crippled
well.
us for a little bit.
Wonderful technology. Well, Kareem, I'm going to ask you, we're really grateful to have you here today as one of the panelists because you started, Aztec started and they were a DBE firm and now they've transitioned out of that program. So what sort of advice can you provide the attendees today regarding working with prime consultants and then becoming one and moving on through that process?
It's first and foremost, we're tickled pink. So Aztec has been in business now 32 plus years. We were founded in 92 in Arizona, in Phoenix, and we were a DBE firm for the first 10 years. And what it really came down to was we were doing our homework. Everything that what Bill and Gary and I have been talking about today is be proactive, understand what the projects, what's coming out, go talk to your clients, and then really go figure out teaming partners that you can help support, win, provide that value, deliver. So it's not just about winning, but then you have to deliver the project too. So I think we were able to really establish that as a strong reputation. And we were able to start attracting really solid people to come work for Aztec. And that's what really helped us is like, you have to have the people that can go out there and win the work, not necessarily as a sub consultant, but sometimes that's what you do. You're a sub or a prime, but we were able to start positioning ourselves as a prime consultant and be able to compete against the partners that we do a lot of work with, whether we're working on a project director or sometimes we have to go up against each other. But that's what happened is we found those opportunities, we started winning them, and then our book of business grew. And then we definitely graduated from the program. So what I would say is stay diligent, hire really good people, and take care of your people. And then those opportunities will grow and you will get out of the program. But there's firms that do not want to grow. They want to stay within they feel like is their sweet spot to whether it's 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, whatever the case is. So it really just depends on how far you want to go, or you just want to stay in your little sweet spot.
Okay, great. I really appreciate it. So we're getting close to the time where we're going to have to close out, and you gave us some great information, all of you today, and I appreciate you taking the time because I know you're all busy. So give me some one word or short phrases in this lightning round as to the most common mistakes that you see when the subs are submitting pre-qualifications applications to you all. Can you offer me up some that you noticed that's the reason why you either rejected them or you had to send back, maybe not in a timely manner? What kinds of things have you seen that have stopped the process for selecting a sub?
I'll jump in and
Okay.
maybe this isn't necessarily in the qualification process, but it will lead to it being in the qualification process. Sometimes I'll get a project understanding and approach for a, let's say, geotech component of the project, And the write-up's the same that I got on the last project and the project before that. You really need to spend the time, learn the project, visit with the people that know more than we collectively know. ADOT PM, to Kareem's point, the discipline leads at ADOT that may be working on the project. Tailor your understanding to the specific project, not necessarily that, you know, we use this size spoon when we're collecting samples. Be specific.
Okay, Gary, what about you? What do you think? Common mistakes?
Yeah, I totally echo with what Bill is stating, and you know, a lot of times we'll ask for a resume. So when you're submitting resumes or qualifications on it, look at your projects that you've worked on previously and how it relates to the project we're pursuing and what staff you're putting up for it it all has to make sense as far as you know, previous experience, the knowledge of the area, and those types of things. Again, this is qualifications based, so we need our sub-consultants to help us win the project and being specific on you know, give us a nugget as far as you know, what's out there that other teams might not know about and how we're going to address it. You know, just make sure that if there's an issue, identify how it's going to be mitigated and how we're going to work through that process to meet the client's schedule and budget on it.
Very good. How about you, Kareem?
Well, I mean, those are excellent points. I think the only thing I could probably add to what Gary and Bill have already conveyed is the commitment to delivery. You know, it's hard to understand that maybe at the onset, but it's one thing to win it, and then you have to deliver, because we all know this is a repeat business that we're in. And that's the only way to really start building your book of business, is that you've proven you can deliver. So that's one thing we look at, is the commitment to deliver, whether it's the people or that specific discipline they're going to offer.
I want to mention, if you all are watching chat, that we've had someone do a synopsis of some of the discussion that we've had today, and actually it's really good. It's very well done.
All right.
So I would I would encourage you to look at that. I also would remind folks to keep their information update and don't copy and paste for each project. You need to initially identify the importance of each project and add those team members that you think could be utilized for the prime design consultants. Update your experience all the time, right? Within your what your projects have been. Don't send old information. It will not work. I think you all would agree with me on that, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tailor it.
Yeah, it's got to be new. It's got to be relevant. If you change personnel, you've got to make sure you put it in. You've got to make sure you've done your edits in ADOT for the qualifications as well. Well, guys, I really want to thank you for your time today, and everyone out there. I hope this was helpful for you. We look forward to future questions. If you have some, we'll get them answered for you if we did not answer them today. Again, the recording and the rest of the notes will be available very soon as we get, I'd say within the next week or so, we'll get that out to everyone. But guys, thank you again very much. Thank you all for attending, and I'm going to turn it back to Rebecca to close us out. So thank you all.
Thank you so much. Great job, Amanda. Thank you again to the
you.
panelists. You are invited to turn your cameras off and your microphones off if you choose. And with that, we're coming right up on 10:30. So perfect timing. Amanda, great credit to keeping us on task, on time. Great questions from the audience. So again, we will have our minutes, our recording out. Everybody will get the slides that were presented along with all the links. There was a lot of helpful links that kind of floated around today. So you will be getting all of those as registered attendees. So thank you once again for joining us for session 2. of the Q1 2024 DBE Task Force session on pre-qualification as a prime professional services firm with ADOT, and then a prime professional services sub-consultant to the primes.
Is a
With that,
mouthful.
thank you again. Have a great day.
Bye, you all. Thank you.